Welcome to the Sonia Buchanan Show, where we inspire one life, one smile at a time. Great day, everyone. It is time for the Sonia Buchanan Show, where we inspire one life, one smile at a time. Listen, we have a great discussion for you today. But first, let me give you the title, and it's called Set Times. I wanted to talk about set times because right now there's so many things and tragedies and blessings and movement, and just the earth is just busy. It seems to be busy because of the reporting every single minute of news, of tragedy, the situations are happening. And again, our title is called Set Times. And I wanted to talk about a couple of things because I'm not really sure of the conditions or emotional well-beings of the people around me, because people around me, we don't discuss most often the things that are going on in the world, because individually, each and every one of us, we have our own world, and then we have the world that is set among us, that is brought forth through publication and news media to see what's going on with other people having situations. And today, I just wanted to just send a couple of encouragement on our show today, because sometimes we can get so wrapped up in what's going around us. Yes, be emotionally stable to be able to pray for the people who are going through different scenarios that has shaken their world. But it's very difficult to pray for others if your world is shaken. So I encourage you to stay steadfast. I want to just go over a couple of things in this podcast today and just do an overview of many things, and just accuracy, and just looking at the natural and the spiritual laws that we can practice, which I gave a podcast previously about natural laws and spiritual laws. And I don't want to go too much into that. You can go into our show and you can click on that, and I go into details in regards to the spiritual laws and the natural laws that you can practice to keep your surroundings at a steadfast pace. But I want to really go into emphasis on that when there are tragedies that's happening, and then, this says there's always an exception to the rule when it comes to the natural and spiritual laws. Actually, there is no exception to the rule when it comes to spiritual and natural laws, because when it all calms down, when the interruption or the violation surrounding you, and you've been practicing natural and spiritual laws, the thing that's chaotic, it always go back to the originator anyway. That is really part of the natural and spiritual laws. If you're practicing that and you're doing what you need to do as far as your environment, you're protecting your family, and you're doing your prayer service, being mindful of the things that you're doing so that the natural and spiritual laws operate in your life and your well-being, usually the chaos is always go back to the originator. That is something that is it's just part of the laws itself. And when I speak of the laws, I'm not speaking of like an old covenant, because according to the written documents, it says that the old covenant anyway is obsolete, and we now operating in a new type of kingdom. Of course we are, because the way things are moving so fast, into the technology world, and everything is happening so quickly. Of course, most of the things are obsolete, but again, our subject today is called Set Times. I want to really emphasize and say that this situation that we're going through with the earth shaking and all these eruptions and violations and covers being uncovered and people deceptions over the years have been erupted. Well, usually it does, because anytime when you're operating in a place of error, it comes to an end. It's almost like you can only fall so far with gravity, and you're going to hit the ground. You're no longer going to be able to go any farther than the ground, the foundation of it. And so to me, I just think this is a eruption of things that have been going wrong and error for individuals, and now is being uncovered. That's what happens. That is a natural occurrence. But unfortunately, it's happening. The revealing of it is happening all at the same time. And it seems as though that the earth is in chaos. No, the earth is being revealed of what has been in an era for a length of time. And because we're going into a new era, the old cannot go into the new. There is a written document when it says you can't put old wine in new wineskin because it would tear the new wineskin. It just doesn't happen that way. The set times. I want to go over a couple of things that I know pretty much is true about the controlling of individuals. One of the things that I do know is a law that man has his own will, and then we have the will of God. Someone would say it's the will of the universe. Well, man has his own will, and then you have the will of God itself. And you can choose to go his will, or you can choose your own will. And most often when we choose our own will without taking the time and just meditating on what is the best will for your life so it will go accordingly, most often if we don't do that, we end up choosing our own will, and this is what we're dealing with every day, because there's so many incidents that we have been presented this year alone that people have chosen their own will instead of choosing the will of what will bring alignment and productivity in an individual life. Now, I want to talk to you about violating other people's will. Now, I do know I don't want to talk about the abortion thing because that is such a political conversation. But honestly, when you choose to be someone's overseer, it really violates the natural and the spiritual laws. Of course, it is written documents in the spiritual law that God gives us our will to choose life and death. He gives us the option to choose life and death. And it amazes me that now a woman does not have that option. We are now in a law that women do not have that option. And it's outdated and it's obsolete, but now there's laws that women are not able to make that decision on their own. And this is not about whether I believe in abortions or not, but I believe in the principles and the mandated spiritual and natural laws that when it's overseeing another human being. Human beings are the only people that God did not give permission to control another human being. If you go back and review the book in Genesis 1 and 2, it says he gave man the authority to oversee the fish and the bird and the vegetation. But there's nothing in the gospel where it talks about man has the right to control another human being. But I don't want to go into that. I just want to leave that little tidbit that we do have our own will to choose for ourselves, or we can choose the will of the God that has has already established for our life to prosper before the foundation of the earth. And I know that there are many people who have lost their confidence in the faith of God, but God is so amazing. He will speak to you if you speak to him. I was having a discussion the other day, just talking about taking the time early in the morning while we're going through this eruption in the earth. It's taking the time when you wake up in the morning and bow your knee and just thank God for your life and just ask him for guidance that day. And I was discussing this with someone, and I says, even the atheists who do not believe in God, it would be recommended that you wake up in the morning and bow your knee and ask God to protect and give you an overseer of wisdom for that day. And, and just being honest with God. Because one of the things that I do know that the gospel of the word of God, it says every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. So if there's things around you that are harassing you and all of that, when you bow your knee, it releases, because whatever that's surrounding you and the things that are coming at you, it does not want to bow to the God of the universe, because they don't want to be controlled by the God of the universe. But the God of the universe is what oversees everything before the foundation of the earth. So bowing your knee is like humbling yourself with the God of the universe, who knows all things, who has the resources that could provide your day to be prosperous that day. He can give you that guidance and just give you the knowledge that you need for that particular day. And, just focus on one day at a time. But one of the things that I wanted to just discuss today is being able to humble yourself before God, because right now, each and every one of us is needing his wisdom and his guidance to know when to go places, when not to go places, protecting our children, but just overseeing every essence of our life, because publication in the news media is bringing so much tragedy, and it can be overwhelming if you consume it, and you have to protect your environment and your place. Again, our subject today is called Set Times. And I want to just go and just talk about a lot of things, nothing is specific, but it may seem like I'm all over the place, but everything that I'm saying is so valid right now. And just hearing and listening to people who have life in them, to speak life, because life itself, it could cast away from shadows and travesty, and it can give you that peace so that you can hear wisdom. Wisdom is already in you. There is a written document that says eternity has been placed in man's heart, but but man does not know what God has done from the beginning to the end. Until now that we are in a new covenant, he will just reveal it. You just know. But it's something about peace. And when you have that peace, it gives you the validated truth for that particular day, so that you can walk forward in your life, and you can walk forward confidently. But when there's so much chaos and shadows of devastations and tragedies, it could overshadow that peace, and you're not able to make the wisest decisions. And during this time, because I'm not really sure, I always say that everyone is not going through different tragedy, but I truly believe everybody is going through something because of what is being put out in the atmosphere. And just for notification of this podcast today, that just like the creation of chaos through the words that's being spoken, peace also can be created through the words that is spoken. Watching what you say, watching what you're thinking, being positive. But most often people are positive anyway. I'm a very positive person when I think of things. I usually, over the years, I have practiced thinking things the correct way and not in a corruption way. And it took a practice because it's not easy to do that. Automatically, we think of the negative first, but if you can train yourself to think of the positive, it maintains your peace. There are many, because in the United States, we have 330 million people in the world, and I'm sure there are segments of people who are meditating every day and keeping their peace and their serenity, and it's very important to do so that you can make the correct decisions in life. Right now, where we're going through all these transformation, but I do want to say that this is not going to last. I mentioned in a previous book, I think it was the Natural and Spiritual Law podcast, when I was speaking about in 1980, we had a situation where the economy was going through chaos. Wasn't going through this type of chaos, but it did. The economy crashed, the stock market crashed, the jobs layoffs, and just a lot of little things. But this is the first that we've experienced such travesty in the earth. This is first. And a lot of people may want to say, well, I have the answers over here. No, you don't have any answers, because God is the only one that has the answers right now. This is something new that we all have been partaking in this, I don't know, this whirlwind. I call it a whirlwind because that's what it feels like. You can give gentleness of truth, but God is the one right now or the universe, which is housed the knowledge and understanding, is the true basis of wisdom to walk out what we're dealing with, because we don't know how long this is going to last. Yesterday, I was sitting there, and I like to talk around my house, and I have the privilege of living alone, and I like to talk out loud of scenarios. Especially, it helps me bring the understanding of what's happening. It's the silence when you're not talking it out and you're not expressing yourself. You cannot, I don't know if you can, but I cannot get truly understanding until I start walking it out. And it helps me bring things that I could not recognize, truth or hidden truth and hidden knowledge that I need to be revealed. So I began to start talking. And yesterday I was talking about a lot of scenarios that was going on, what was affecting my life to go forward. And all of a sudden this knowledge came about. And when the knowledge came about, I began to feel this peace and this strength. And I discovered something. That when knowledge is revealed to you, you receive this strength. And I'm not talking about knowledge when it's pertaining to a job, or knowledge when it's pertaining to something that you're trying to do. I'm talking about the knowledge that's within you, that guides your day, that helps you to be guided during that day. You get this overwhelming strength and peace and this gentleness and this happiness. That is the God of wisdom and knowledge to you. And I said to a lot of people that I know that's atheists, I said, you may be atheist, but God is not atheist, and he still loves you. And you still can talk to him, because God is not, he's not like human beings, and he probably understands why they're atheists, But that doesn't mean that he's not going to bless you. The man who owns Facebook is atheist, and he's a billionaire, and he's walking with this knowledge and basis to build his company. So whatever situation is humbling yourself to receive knowledge so you can vicariously go through this life and go through the life and finish your daily goals every single day and be proud of yourself. But as yesterday, I was walking around just talking, and all of a sudden I got this understanding of what I was speaking about, because I was really into trying to figure out something, and the knowledge just came about, and I was able to walk out that knowledge and fulfill it. And I was very pleased about it, which I knew that, okay, this is a yes, this is a check of yes and amen. If you're not getting that, when you get to understanding of something, when it brings you joy and it just guides you and you're happy, you're smiling, then it may just not be the right decision or the right knowledge that you're getting. If you're still stressing and just feeling tangled, that may not be the validated knowledge that you need to go forward. But really, this is all I wanted to talk about, because right now, we're needing positive voices that is in the world to speak life into the economy and speak life into the atmosphere without having an agenda, a personal agenda, but actually having the agenda to just wanting to speak life so it does a turnaround. But there's another segment in this podcast I want to talk about that many are really experiencing, and they don't want to talk about it, and that is harassment. That is validation, crossing boundaries from outside sources. And I want to touch bases and give a scenario when that happens, and how do you handle it so you won't emotionally have an outburst with people who are around you and they keep nagging and they keep going into boundaries, they keep doing this and they keep doing that. And I want to just give you an understanding of what's happening, especially if you're focusing, you're trying to stay focused and trying to get through these days, radical days of chaos, and you still having to deal with things that shouldn't be dealing with. Well, so that you won't lose your emotional instability, usually when people are so busy trying to destroy your life and so busy trying to keep you from going forward and so busy trying to take from you and so busy trying to do narrative things that will cause the stress in your life, just remember this. They have abandoned their reason for living. They have taken upon their own will to seek out to harm you psychologically, emotionally. They have no focus about their own life, because I cannot see how you are focused with your own personal life and to be over in someone else's trying to destroy their life. So this is one way to deal with it emotionally, because you don't want to bring an imbalance in your life trying to react to an invader or someone has crossed the line in your space. Just remember, if they are harassing you and they're not promoting positivity, usually they have abandoned their own personal assignment. That's the only way that I could think of when you have that occurrences in this set time. So don't lose your set peace and be emotional and responding to it. But just remember that they have left their own personal life just to be able to harass you because you're going forward. And actually, they are really used to bless you anyway. God's system, the documents, the Word of God documents is set up where you're going to get blessed anyway. You're blessed if anyone is harassing you. You're blessed if you are going forward. It's just the whole system is set up to bless you. So Try not to be emotionally instability, because I'm seeing a lot of this in the news where people are fighting and all of this, and just people are harassing everyone and they just erupting. Don't erupt, because it is an assignment to cause you to be out of your place and out of peace, to respond to things that is out of place. So if you respond to something that's out of place, that's in your territory, keep going forward. Just keep walking and don't respond emotionally. Just ask God to give you guidance how to handle it, because it is important right now that you keep going forward, because this too will pass. Our earth will settle. And that is the way it always happened. It settles. But I want you all to stay encouraged as we continue to go through this year of 2022. It is the 7th month of this year, and we are still just getting through the days. And you have to take these days one day at a time. Again, our subject today is called Set Times. And I just want you to know that before the foundation of this world, your life was already created. Just stay forward. Even if you don't know what to do, you know what to do. Just keep walking forward. And as you walk forward, knowledge will drop into your lap and you go forward and keep going. Don't give up. Don't get weary. I mean, it's hard to say don't get weary, because even I get weary at times. I get weary, but I have to I have to lie on the floor and it brings peace, or I just kneel down and it just brings peace. But don't quit. Don't stop thinking the goodness of your day, because it's very important that you stay maintained in that set order. But this is the end of our podcast for today, and I want you all to just remember that you can go forward. Don't emotionally respond to chaos, because it wants you to get distracted. Just go forward. But this is the end of our show today, and I want to say thank you for listening and thank you for dropping by. Remember that you can go to our website to listen to previous records. You can go to our YouTube page, because they are listed there. And I want you all to have an enjoyable day and an enjoyable rest of the week. This is your girl, Sonya Buchanan, with the Sonya Buchanan Show, where we inspire one life, one smile at a time. Hey, you guys, make it a good day. Bye, guys.
Oh my God, I gotta tell you, I was having a moment and I decided to surf the net. And that's when I came across this website called Comforting Promises, which is a great website, by the way. And get this, on the website was a featured book called The Journey by Sonya Buchanan that was recently published. So I immediately downloaded the ebook on Kindle, because it talked about, having faith for your life purpose. And let me tell you, the book is super great. I was so motivated to get back into the game, pursuing my goals. And you got to get the book, because it's worth the read.
Thank you for joining our podcast today. The podcast was produced and edited by Sonya Buchanan. For more information about the host, you can go to SonyaBuchanan.com. For information about Comforting Promises broadcast community, you can go to ComfortingPromises.com. Thank you for listening to our broadcast, The Sonya Buchanan Show, where we focus on one life, one smile at a time. Until next time, bye you guys.